It's Judd's Hockey Show.
And it is Judd's Hockey Show after a very, I don't know what you call that. It's really a tale of two games. 3-2 victory for the Wild tonight in overtime against the Ducks. They almost lost the game. Nonetheless, they clinch a playoff spot with the win. Quite frankly, Calgary is down starting the third period 3-1 to the Golden Knights. And so the Wild probably would have backed into a playoff spot even with a loss. But because of this, they lock into the 7th seed in the Western Conference. So they are now going to be playing the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round of the playoffs. AJ, Judd, plenty to get to here. But first of all, let's shout out our friends at Padregs, and in particular, Patty's Premium, a delicious beer, folks. I'm telling you right now. And this is also tied into our draft party coming up, of course, a week from Thursday, April 24th at the Fillmore, which is going to be a great time. Register now, actually, at Padregs, at their tap room in Northeast Minneapolis, to win Sports Dad front row seats to the draft party. You can go into their tap room, try out their outstanding beers. Again, the premium's really, really good, and register to win Sports Dad seats. I think it's a meet and greet with Sports Dad too. So pretty intriguing stuff. But Padregs, really an outstanding beer. And as always, if you sample it, tweet me your cans or can at JZulgad, JZULGAD on Twitter. All right, AJ, let's get to it. I actually want to go into this show backwards by talking about the end of the game, which had very little to do with the win. In the sense that I thought the best part of tonight, maybe the season, or certainly a snapshot again, Marc-Andre Fleury, after the Wild had clinched a playoff berth by tying the game late in regulation to get the point, for overtime, Fleury is put in. The crowd goes wild, chanting Fleury, Fleury, Fleury. He actually makes some nice saves. Just a really special, cool moment in time. And then, of course, just like the Canadians did, just like the Capitals did, the Ducks players all, after the game, waited for Fleury, shook his hand. In what I would say was a very frustrating night for this team, I would say that was just an awesome thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, that was so cool. The game itself, we'll talk about kind of periods 1 through 3, but that overtime, you score the goal with 20-some-odd seconds left. Just when, you think they're not going to do it, they do. And then the crowd, you could kind of feel the tension, and you see him kind of stand up, and it's like, okay, what's going on? Are they just shuffling here for overtime? And then he hops over the wall. It was pandemonium. For everybody who was sitting at home, like, you could have turned your TV up to max volume. It wouldn't have been the level of volume that it was here at the X. It was insane. It was electric. And then it's like, well, there's one of two ways this is going to go. They're either going to give up one of the softest goals of all time, or they're going to, what we saw, put on a nice defensive effort. I have been on their case intensely the past 2 weeks. I'm going to give them flowers right now. Zach Bogosian and John Merrill, you went out there in a moment, down on a penalty kill in overtime in Marc-Andre Fleury's last ever regular season ice hockey action, professional, and you stood your ground. Kudos to both of you. You didn't do anything special, but that's just fine. You held things down, and then you got the big guns out there. They ended in a fantastic way, and Marc-Andre Fleury, now, like, the last memory he has of playing professional hockey in the regular season is not an 8-7 overtime win. It's coming in like Mariano Rivera-esque, the closer, enter Sandman. He comes in, shuts things down, and the thing is, Judd, you got the whole package of flower. He hops over, electric crowd chanting his name. He stacks the pads, I think, on Troy Terry at one point. He off the post, but from Leo Carlson, mid-play on the penalty kill, he's rubbing, hey, merci beaucoup, thank you. And then after the penalty kill, there was a whistle after the puck goes up into the netting. On the Jumbotron, they had the cut to him. I think they had it on TV, too. You could see the beaming, bright smile. Like, everything about him was encapsulated in that OT session. That is the perfect send-off if you're ever going to have it. Like, night and day difference from what you had the other day when 8-7 is just not the way you want to go out. This is just fine. All is forgiven. If there's one thing this team could finally do right tonight, it was that. Kudos to the Wild for finally doing something right in this weird must-win playoff clinching game.
Absolutely, yeah. This was a that in and of itself, if you're a sports fan, and I guess especially a hockey fan, was just so cool to see. And the game a week ago Wednesday here, which was a debacle. I mean, Fleury in that game gets yanked 9 out of 10 times, unless you think it might be his last start, which it ends up being. But that was great. All right, and actually, I have a score update from Calgary. Now, if you are watching this, if you are listening or watching this tomorrow, we are recording this live and doing a live show post game. Okay, so this game, if you are consuming this podcast on Wednesday, is long done. But the Flames have come back to tie at 3-3. So the Wild did a very good job by getting that point. But I want to get into this game because I'm sure that the TV partner was very excited about this. I know that the owner, Craig Leopold, certainly is, because it means home playoff gates. But let's talk about this game, because I found this game to be unacceptable. You played harder, but this is what happens when you tempt the hockey gods. The Ducks are, I think the Ducks are a really nice young team. But that being said, you had to win this game, and you did not have to score. Like, you shouldn't have had to score with 20 seconds left. I don't know. There were moments tonight where I thought that the Wild was really pretty good, and there were periods of the period where I thought, what's going on here? It's time to pick things up here. Let's just put it that way. It is time to pick things up, and I see your comments, and I agree. Zeev Buium needs to play in game 1. Zeev Buium, your power play 0 for 2. You didn't move the puck especially well. Enough with this. Oh, we've got to play our guys. These are our guys. I know. We know best. No, you don't. I'd rather see you flame out, Age, with Buium playing than I would with Merrill playing. And the other thing tonight is, shame on you. You guys clearly got talked into playing. Jake Middleton was nowhere near prepared to play. And I don't know if he talked his way in or what, but flat out, I'm going to tell you right now, and we did not talk about this, so this is after the fact, but flat out tonight, Zeev Buium would have been more effective than Jake was. And Jake's a good player, and I like him a lot. Like he brings a lot. And I don't know if you forced him to play or if he just basically begged to play. But AJ, let's just start there. This guy was in no way prepared to play, and you sat a kid in the press box who I guarantee you would have had a better game. Because if I was to estimate, Jake was at, would you say 35%? Like, it was bad. It was bad.
He clearly did not look like himself, and the biggest one was this is like us sitting up there. I'm not sure how much they showed this on the TV broadcast for people watching, but I think it was after the second goal. He was back checking when it was a 2-on-1. Merrill was left back after he sort of pinched up, and then he comes in and he catches the leg on Gustafsson's pad and goes like almost full speed, face first in the half wall. He was so slow to get up.
Yeah. I'm not faulting him.
No, I don't blame him either, but he's clearly not even close to fully healthy. It's an issue that you're going to have for, like, just assessing for game 1. He's not anywhere close, and that's a huge problem because when he's on his game, like this is not a bottom pairing type of guy that is like 50-50. What are you going to do? He has been a top pairing or second guy all season long and really good offensively. So when you don't have him fully healthy,
absolutely,
it's so noticeable.
Absolutely, but you played him like you went out of your way today to say we're healthy, everybody's back, and then you played a guy that wasn't even close. Like, what are you doing? Like that to me was strike 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Strike 2 was explain the flow from the Wild to this game. Like, you're playing the Ducks. The Ducks are I like the Ducks a lot. They can skate. Their closing speed's exceptional. Like, they do a lot of things well. But all of that being said, explain to me what this game was about. Like, you had to win this game. And I don't know what it felt like, but it felt like it was a very up and down game. And at some point in time, you have to give 60 full minutes. Thank you. 60 full minutes. Like, you have to play your ass off for 60 minutes. I don't know what it is about this team. I don't know what's transpired. But you look at some of the giveaways, some of the, I saw third period late before they tied it. Boldy gets stripped at center ice. Dude, you can't have that happen right now.
No.
In typical fashion, drives me up the wall. One of your best players, Marcus Johansson. Why? Because he's in a contract year. And I guarantee you he's going to the Ducks. The Ducks are going to say, oh, my God, I can't believe how well that guy played. We can't wait to sign him to a 3-year contract.
He was a monster tonight.
But explain the game flow to me. Like, I am actually very, very perplexed at what we saw tonight, because I did not think that it was up to snuff for what the situation called for against a team that is out of the playoffs. You should be better than.
And the thing is, they started so much better than it was. Like, the first 10 minutes, they controlled the play. They were driving offensively. They were exiting their zone efficiently. Maybe it wasn't the biggest of chances, but it was chance after chance after chance, wild, wild, wild. Like, big time swing around 10 minutes into the first period. This has been a problem all season long, especially as of late. Like, you have to play full periods of hockey. You can get away with this clearly against a team like the Anaheim Ducks. Game 82. You cannot do this Sunday, whatever, the 19th, against the who's it going to be? The Vegas Golden Knights officially now.
Yeah, they've locked into them.
Game 1, because if you take 2, 5, 10 minutes off, they're going to make you pay. It's going to be a nightmare for you, and you're going to have the quickest exit that's ever been seen. Somehow, those 4 games that you're going to get swept, somehow mercy rule is going to be put into effect. They're not even going to play 4. 3, because you're just going to play one period of game, and you're going to get taught a lesson every single time. You're going to leave your goaltender hanging out to dry. You're going to see tensions boiling over. At a certain point, it's like just wave the white flag. You have to play 60 minutes. If you don't, it's going to be so embarrassing for you. And this like, oh, okay, we got our home playoff games. If we can get one on the road, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to matter. Vegas will absolutely punish you, and they will not care. They're not. This is not Game 82. Teams don't have anything to play for. Now you're playing for a Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there has to be consistency here. Let's continue down the thread, too, because there's a bunch of stuff, I think just particular things to get to. Where do we stand with Kirill Kaprizov? Because he was losing, and I'm going to say this every single time I bring this up. This is not a criticism of him. He works his ass off, okay? But the board battles, the more importantly, open ice, like he's getting the puck taken from him at times. And this dude, when healthy, that's the key word, obviously, folks. When healthy, he is strong as an ox. And I don't know if this is going to gradually come along as the playoffs go. We've talked about this, but I will say this. If I was to say, okay, I'm going to give you an estimation percentage-wise of how much 97 looks like 97. I'm at about 60%, dude. I'm at about, and I just don't know. Like he is losing fundamental battles that he never loses, and I can't help but think that it's game shape, and it's also just the ability. Like I just don't know because he skates so hard. I don't know he's the strength too. Like it's game shape and a strength thing, and I don't know that they're the exact. I feel like they're a little bit different, but they're both definitely issues.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing. Is we've talked about this too a little bit. It's clear that his game sense and his mind is still there, but you could tell like by the end of the second period, gassed. There was a battle that he had top of the zone on the wall. He wins the puck, and then he holds the zone in order to just maintain that offensive zone pressure. Similar play in the third, but you could tell like by that time you're double shifting. He's not there conditioning wise like to quote Miracle, Herb Brooks, the legs feed the wolves, and his legs are feeding a baby wolf at this point at best. Like his legs are dead. And that's really no fault to his. Like he's been out for over a month. You can't find that conditioning. He's been doing what he can because you can't necessarily work on it while also rehabbing that part of your body post-surgery. It's just so clearly an issue. The hands are fine. The shot looks fine. It's just you can't that early double shift. You almost have to like you're watching the gas tank first period, maybe second you can lean more, and then okay, what's our position? Where are we at taking stock into the third? We need you. Perfect. Pedal the metal. Otherwise, if you're in a good spot, let's save him for game 2. For some reason, we come out and we're sneaking one out. We've got a couple bounces our way. We're up 3-1 against Vegas. Play him normally. We don't need to double shift Kirill if we don't have to because we need him for at least 3 more games this series.
And I guess, and I think it was 3-0 in Calgary on Friday when they double shifted him as well, and then they definitely did quite a few times tonight. But I don't think at this point it's a good idea. Like he's not that player. He's not that player, and I don't know if you think that by exhausting him he's going to get stronger. But yeah, because he's gasping and he's getting the puck taken away. Just a lot of things that he does not do, and that I would expect that would not occur. Let's say he's healthy next October or November. But the double shifting to me is like that. That's great when he's healthy, but I don't really get that. I know why they're doing it, but he's not that guy right now, and so it seems like it's being forced. Let's continue down the line path as well, because I think there's a lot to get to here. So the top line tonight, again, second consecutive game, I believe, was Eriksson, Boldy, Kaprizov. That's fine. But let's talk about the second and third lines, okay? Because I think we got some problems there. I think we have some confusion about what's smart. And again, before you tell me, well, these guys spend so much time around the players, they know what's up. They don't necessarily always make the right moves, okay?
Yeah.
But the second line tonight was Gaudreau, who was playing really well for him. He's a very solid player. Johansson had a great night. Of course he did. It's his contract year. Zuccarello. And I actually don't have a problem with those wings because, JoJo played a really good game tonight. But then the third line, Marco Rossi, Nyquist, Foligno. What are we doing here? First of all, Gaudreau belongs with Foligno and Nyquist if Nyquist belongs playing, which I think is a whole topic. But if you're going to get what you can from Rossi, and I know you're mad at him sometimes, I know that he does this and that, but the dude has skill, and he has scored 24 freaking goals, pardon my French. You need to put him with Johansson and Zuccarello. What are we doing, John Hines? Or in this case, AJ?
Well, and that's the thing. I don't understand. And yes, let's get it, like,
he has
his play dipped? Yes, there's no doubt about that. There's been a clear drop-off in what he's been. I think he stepped up to an extent when Kaprizov and Ek were both out. Now that they're back, you think like the job gets easier, the spotlight kind of shifts away. You can kind of go back to, if you just continue that play, you're like a massive addition to the lineup. But it hasn't been there. I get being frustrated, but there has to be a better way, because this is something you and I talked about very briefly, which is skill-wise. Marco Rossi brings a hell of a lot more to the table than Freddie Gaudreau. Freddie Gaudreau works his butt off. I'm not discounting him for that.
Yep.
Is he a one center? No. Is he a two center? Not really. He's a fantastic third center, fourth center guy. He is working every single shift. He's just fine there. Marco Rossi, if you want him to get out of a slump and start producing again, you have to put him with tools that he can succeed with. Mm-hmm. Right now, Marcus Foligno and Gustav Nyquist, that's not the answer. Maybe a couple years ago, that line works out just fine. Not right now. If you swap him, especially with Marcus Johansson, who we saw tonight, contract, like extension looking type of guy who knows, okay, I need a job next year, perfect. Sign him up. Matt Zuccarello, they worked well while both Ek and Kaprizov were out, so I don't see why not. Burying him on the third line to like teach him a lesson or say, hey, we need you to play bigger or get to the net more and play more physical. I feel like he's coachable enough to do all those things, but if you want him out of a slump, you have to prop him up to an extent. He's not a Kirill Kaprizov where he can just like turn it on and off at times. Yeah. He does need a little bit of that adrenaline shot to the heart.
And I guess my problem too is, yes, he is tired. He looks tired. Yes, he has struggled, okay? But the reality is this. Marcus Johansson had a great game, but he was alone. Gaudreau his skill set doesn't fit. So, like, with the type of game, if you want a potential facilitator, which is what the center's supposed to be, you need Rossi on the second line. Gaudreau with Foligno in particular would be damn good. And then, who knows, perhaps Gus the Ghost could do something, I don't know. And you know what, too? I mean, if we're teaching lessons, you can be scratching. I can scratch guys right and left. So, Marco Rossi seems like a weird guy when he's slumping now. And again, he has 24 goals. To be teaching a lesson to, there's just some things that don't make sense. But let's get to the defensive pairings, too. So I don't think getting Buium, and I know that there's a rash of people upset about that he shouldn't play, and then there's people that think he should. And quite frankly, I think the dialogue is great. But with what you saw on the power play, if nothing else, he should play for that. He should play for his ability on the power play. There's nothing that you've told me, and you watch these guys in college and stuff a lot more than I do probably, but there's nothing that you've told me about his game, unless he's going to be a defensive disaster, which, by the way, you've got guys that can do that, that should preclude him from playing. And when you start a series against the Golden Knights, if you don't think that your power play can efficiently operate, you might as well go home. Like the playoffs are about what? The playoffs are about goaltending and special teams, especially, right? So if you think, our power play might not click, well, then just go home. But if you think that you might have a guy that can run the power play or play a big role there, and by the way, he's a defenseman too, so don't give me this crap, because I'll say this. You've been playing, and I know it's in John Hines' mind, it's forced, but if you're playing 5 forwards in the playoffs, guess what the bleeping Golden Knights are going to do? They're going to attack your guys. They're going to score shorthanded goals because your guys don't play defense because they're not defensemen. So, I mean, I would rather take my chances with a young Buium playing on the blue line, running the power play, and being attacked a little bit, than I would Boldy and Kaprizov or Boldy and Zuccarello trying to man the points. Because I'm going to tell you right now, in a 7-game playoff series, there's enough film out there that's going to get attacked.
And Charles has a very solid point here. Zeev has played for everybody listening on the podcast version of this, Zeev has played in some of the best tournaments in the world. A young kid can play in. He will be fine. He brings offense. We need offense. Great quote from Charles, because I fully agree. The PK for Vegas is, like, I think mediocre at best the last time I looked. Like, they're not, I'll maybe look at that just to double check, but I think they were like middle of the league to maybe bottom half. You have to be able to capitalize, especially in a playoff game where tensions are going to rise, things are going to get chippier. One, you have some guys on the team that can lose their temper, and they're probably going to go to the box. Things are going to get out of hand at times. 2, defensively, you have been Swiss cheese at times to where you have to. You saw it on the overtime today. Matt Boldy kind of gets beat. They get around the corner. He has to slash. They go to the box. You're going to have those types of plays where guys simply have to take a penalty to stop. And thank you, Jordan. 24th in the league, PK for Vegas. So
ask and you shall receive.
You're going best audience in the world. Best audience. No community like the JHS community. You're gonna go to the box. You need a guy who can be mobile out there if needed in a pinch. But 2, when you do go on the power play, you need somebody who can actually quarterback it. And it's not like he's been sitting on the couch just waiting for this call-up. He has been dominating in the NCHC, which, a little biased, but the best conference in college hockey. His team won the national championship last year. He goes to the semifinal this year. He's a Hobie Baker finalist. NCHC Player of the Year. He's setting all types of scoring records for a defenseman in college. He's fine. He is just fine. I don't care that he's 19 years old. I don't care that he can't grow a beard. I don't care that John Merrill, has been in the lineup. You need to get him in for game 1. And now, frankly, health-wise, I think Jake Middleton is genuinely a question. That's something that, take your pick. Percentage-wise, 50% Jake Middleton or John Merrill, whatever you want. I don't care about handedness. He has to be in because you're going to need a guy who's a spark plug offensively who can play special teams. I mean, they were rolling out Kalen Addison, specifically for that role. And granted, that was a different regime at times. This is 10 times the player, and then some, of Kalen Addison. He can play defense. He's not like a liability. You saw Ivan Demidov last night make his NHL debut, and he had a fantastic night, but he did have kind of the typical high-skilled Russian winger play, which is, okay, I'm just going to coast back and not pick up my guy defensively.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. He's young. He's a defenseman. Say it with me. Defenseman. The first word of that is defense. He doesn't just go out there and think offense, offense, offense. He's got two-way stuff in his game. Sure, he's probably more skilled offensively, but you didn't draft him and let him go back to college and say, hey, Carl, let's work on X, Y, Z here this year. He's fine. Get him in the lineup. I don't see a reason not to. And like today, the news that he was not playing, that upset me. Like, it was more disappointing than probably mad. I will be legitimately angry if come game one he's not in the lineup card and they don't have a very good reason for why he's not. Like, if he's sick, I get it. Oh, he's not ready. Get out of here with that crap. I'm not buying it.
I agree completely. And the thing, too, here is there is no downside to playing him. It's not like anyone watching this show or hosting this show thinks this team's going to win a Stanley Cup, right? So, like, there's no downside to getting him experience. You signed him to the contract that burns year one. And, yeah, maybe it was he hasn't practiced a lot. Maybe that was it today. I don't know. But all I know is we saw nothing tonight that made me think, thank you, Lord, for Zeev not playing. I'm glad he didn't play. I'm glad John Merrill played. And by the way, Johnny threw away a puck in the first period, and that's before I realized that Jake shouldn't be playing.
Really quick here to address Taylor's comment where he says, or where they say, Buium plays in the playoffs, maybe not game one, but he will play. Write it down.
Game one.
I don't disagree with that, but my issue is that he can't be a game 3, game 4. You know, we've gotten the breaks beat off us here in games 1, 2, and 3, and now it's like, well, lasted. He needs to be in while, like, the series still has meaning, when they still have a chance to win. This can't be a back in the corner, well, we got to really shake things up. So we're going to go Flower, we're going to call up Ogren, we're going to throw Zeev in the lineup. No, he needs to be in there for meaningful playoff hockey.
Well, and he can be in there for game one for the power play again.
I think so, too.
And by the way, you got a little bit of a problem here. The Golden Knights on the power play themselves, 29.1%, second in the league to the Jets, 29.4%. And so you've got a little bit of a conundrum here because the Wild power play it's 19th at 21.1%. If you get beat in special teams, you do not have any chance. You're going to get waxed.
Yeah.
So again, this is not about, well, this is what we think is best. Okay, forget what you think is best and do what you think gives you a chance that's the smartest. You know, nothing that drives me more nuts than the adult in the room trying to tell me, well, I know what's best. Sometimes you don't, okay? What was that last comment? Go back to the one I think it was from Lucas.
Said,
I'm glad he didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
Is that for Zeev?
I would assume so, given context, which, like, do I understand
well,
what they're saying? Maybe, but I just don't agree with it.
In retrospect, though, you played a guy who clearly shouldn't have played at all.
Yes.
Middleton playing, I mean, this is not a stretch. Playing Jake Middleton tonight was a mistake. That was a bigger mistake than Buium debuting. Like, that was a bad decision. Again, I don't know if he talked his way in, which I'm sure he might have. He's a tough guy. Maybe. I don't know if they said you got to play, but he was in it became very apparent on goal 1 by the Ducks. He shouldn't have played.
Do you think it was given, like, the 97% chance of making the playoffs, and, like, although we heard the PR stuff of, you know, we have to win this game, and we want to win so we can do it on our terms, blah, blah, blah. Maybe was it more of a test drive game to see, like, where he's at, gauge just how good he is? I feel like that's just such
Middleton?
a bad excuse. I'm grasping for a reason.
I think he talked his way.
Just don't understand it.
I'm guessing he talked his way in. I'm guessing he's a veteran, talked his way in, got to play. I don't know what's wrong, but it was just very, very apparent from the outset in seeing him he shouldn't have played. So, like, for all of the, well, Buium, it's good that they sat him. Well, then they played the wrong bleeping guy.
Yeah.
Malachi here says Judd would just make the players practice special teams and face-offs the entire practice. Actually, you know what?
I think this goes back to
Malachi.
somebody asked you to be one of the assistant coaches behind the bench.
After how they played the past week plus, I'd bag skate them tomorrow. I'd make them pass out and puke because tonight, unacceptable. Calgary, unacceptable. I'm going to tell you right now, I wasn't offended by tonight. I wasn't offended by Saturday against the Canucks. But ladies and gentlemen, those two teams, the Canucks and the Ducks, are out of the playoffs. And you barely beat. You had to rally. And then you're celebrating like it's like this great feat. It's like I would have had my head between I would have been like, okay, guys, let's go. Flower, great job. Let's pat Flower on the. But they scored that goal to tie it to get the point, and they were jumping around the bench. It's like, you guys, you backed into a tie here. This is embarrassing. This is not how championship. That's my thing here, and this has been a problem here for years. There's no championship culture. Like, you're celebrating getting into the play. Again, it always feels like I'm watching a Bantam team. Like it seriously feels like we're going for pizza post game. It's like you guys had to tie the bleeping Ducks to get in. Just go sit in your locker room and think about that for a second. You know, they're all jumping up and down. And the Flower thing, again, I'm going to say this was awesome, okay? So anything to do with him, I absolve them completely. But they got that goal to tie it, and they're jumping up and down. If I was on that team, I would have said, guys, shut up and sit down. Like, we're lucky, and we are going to work harder. But this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. But I do say this, the Flower stuff, awesome. Brings a tear to my eye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Juice box for everybody. Pizza,
Joseph's exactly right.
Pizza and Dairy Queen.
Yeah, it's like watching a Bantam
on the
team.
way home.
It's like watching a Bantam team. You're an NHL team.
It's like when I played Little League Baseball, and like you get done with the game and nobody really cared about the score, but then it's like, where's my concession ticket? I got to get a hot
tree
dog
ticket
and
land.
a big bopper.
I always said it's tree tickets. We called them that in the 70s. And it's like when they get done, John Hines is like, here's your tree ticket. And look, I get it. You made the playoffs. That's great. Are you really proud of how this team played in the last week plus? I mean, that Sharks game was fun to watch as a fan. It was a debacle. It was a disaster. Then they go to Calgary and they absolutely screwed Fleury by playing like that. Like, it's one thing if you lose a tight game and Calgary plays well, and then it's like, okay, good job, guys. But the reality is they didn't show up. Then Vancouver, they're down by 2. Vancouver's a non-playoff team. Vancouver is a disaster. They are a soap opera. And you had to come back, and again, it's like, yeah, we came back. It's like, yeah, well, you should have won the game in regulation, easy. And instead, just like you had to come back, and then tonight was, and God bless the Ducks. They played hard. I really like them. I think the Ducks are going to be really good. But yeah, this team lacks anything resembling a killer instinct. And here's my problem. And we're in the X right now. When's the last time you had a team in this building that had a killer instinct? I mean, I think it was the 2003 team that made the conference finals was not talented, but they knew how to shut her down, baby. They knew how to shut it down, and they had some real players back then, like guys that were not happy with, hey, yeah, we just made it. It just feels like until it changes, and I thought it would with Bill, but it is not so far. It just feels like the culture around here is just like, we all get along. It's great. We won. Yay. It's like, no, that's not how this works. You guys are about to embark. If things go well, which I don't think that they will, but if things go well, you're talking about a 2+ month run of hell. Like, I'll go back, because I've said this for years now. The NHL playoffs are hell. They're fun to watch. As a fan, and we love them. But the NHL playoffs are an absolute grind. They're a grind where nothing matters but hockey into the spring. Being friends doesn't, yeah, we won tonight against the Ducks. You guys should be embarrassed. Get your act together.
Yeah, there's like 4 seasons in the NHL. There's the off season, the preseason, the regular season, and then the playoffs. And the playoffs is the hardest one. It's the hardest trophy to win. It's 16 games of pure, I want you dead. I want you in a gutter.
No space.
Lifeless. We're battling to the death for this 34-ish pound piece of metal that immortals me in this game. Like, you are going all out. I don't know if what I saw tonight and have seen the past couple of weeks tells me this team is like ready to embark on that journey. Only because going back to it, and we touched on this already, they don't play complete games. I see 10 to 20 minutes at times of really good hockey. I saw a great overtime from them because they locked it down defensively when battling adversity on a penalty kill. And then they took that and they used that momentum to go battle on offense and get the game-winning goal for their 40-year-old goaltender to send him off riding into the sunset. But I didn't see that for the third period until the final 5 minutes. I didn't see that after the first 10 minutes. That's my biggest problem. And all of these teams that win the cup year after year, sure, they have depth. Sure, they have the killer instinct. But they also play every minute of those 16 games that they win. That's the biggest key. The consistency has to be, and they've addressed multiple things here the past month of this year. They need to address the consistency before the 19th because that's when it all really kicks off. If you're not consistent, there's no chance.
Can you find that though?
That's the problem. I feel like it's almost too far gone at this point.
Well, and what's weird is the start of the season was so good, and I know that Kaprizov got hurt around Christmas, played 3 games up until he just came back last week against the Sharks. Eriksson Ek missed extensive time. So I get that, okay? But it doesn't feel like it should be that hard to play complete games right now. And the reality is, like tonight, you had everybody playing, and you still couldn't play. And you're exactly right. They got off to a great start. I was like, okay, you were locked in. This is awesome. This is what you should do. You're going to score 6 goals. And then it sort of waned. And it felt like when the Ducks decided, oh, we're playing tonight, that the Wild's like, whoa, you're playing tonight? It's like, well, yeah, they're a young team. It's their last game. So,
just to also address this too, they waited until game 82 to lock it up. So it's like I feel like, and once again for people listening on the podcast version of this, Pocket Aces 888 says you guys didn't think they would make the playoffs at the start of the year. I think I want to say one of us two and Jesse, one of us did say that they would probably creep in. No, did we not all say wild cards or no? Maybe I
don't think I thought that they would make it.
Maybe I said they missed,
but they got off to a fantastic start. They made it because of that start, but they did everything in their power to give up the spot.
It's just like they were in such a position after that first month, and
yes,
I feel like we were counting them out. And I'll say this: I counted them out for that first month. I figured it was going to be much of the same. Where
start was great.
They'd be playing from behind. They're playing catch up all season long. You got these games where it's like, well, you got to have them, and it's playoff games by the end of November. Every game you got to have it. They put themselves in the saddle to really not coast, but play comfortably. And then injuries do pile up, but then also they just fell off their game and they're dropping points against teams that they really shouldn't be.
Right.
And that's where now you're in this position where, yes, I am absolutely thrilled that come next week, I will be able to sit down and watch playoff hockey involving Minnesota Wild. I just think they could have had this wrapped up at least a week ago. They could have had it wrapped up Friday night, and they decided to not show up there.
Right. No, exactly right. And yes, I think I said that they wouldn't make it, but they got off to that great start. And keep in mind, that changed everything for me. Yeah. Like, that changed my opinion. And what's tough is some of it they lost. They had guys get hurt. I understand that. But some of it was it sort of just all waned.
Really quick from Connor here. Connor3485 in the chat says, AJ and Judd, who does Buium pair up with in Game 1 of the playoffs? And this is in my dream scenario where Buium actually makes the lineup for Game 1 of the playoffs. Judd, what's your ideal pairing for Mr. Zeev?
I think eventually it'd be Brock. In the playoffs, I would put him with Spurgeon because Jared can stabilize him. And then if Jake can play, I would have my left shot defenseman would be Brodin, Zeev, Middleton, and that's not demotion. Like I'm just saying that I would stabilize Buium by putting him with Spurgeon. I would probably leave Brock with Brodin, and then I would have Jake with Bogosian.
I agree with that, especially
because he's a right-handed shot. That's why I'd have him.
Yeah,
there.
And with what we saw health-wise, from Middleton tonight as well. I mean, it's not a demotion, but it's just until you're at least 100%.
Right.
And we're seeing normal Jake Middleton. I don't know if I want you playing top 4 minutes.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with that. But I think after this season, once they have an off season, a preseason, really work together and get more familiar, Marc-Andre is going to be that is the money ticket right there for the next decade.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But Zeev on the power play in game 1, I don't think that's much to ask. I don't think we're asking too much.
Judd, you know I'm a man of the people here, so I'm gonna take an order here from Anthony Edwards. Go. AJ, show this comment. Culture has not changed since getting rid of Parisian Suter. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's the weird thing. I thought it had. Like, the start to the season was really impressive, and I thought that it was changing, which is why I've been so hot under the collar about the last, I don't know, month or so. And I said that. Like, it just feels like the culture in this building hasn't changed as much as I really thought with that start. Like, you're on the road. They played really, really well. I thought it had changed. But, I mean, the Islanders game, the Flames game, it's hard to push back on him right now. Like, it's hard to say, no, it's completely changed. Do I think that this team isn't as, what's the word, recalcitrant as they were previously? I think that's yes. But, yeah, they're a definite, I mean, if they pull some of the stunts that they pulled of late in the playoffs, we're going to have 4 games.
Yeah, that's...
And I think I'm going to predict more than 4, but I'm just saying you can't do what they've done. You can't do what they've done.
Yeah, and I'm assuming we'll dive a little bit more into
a
round 1 preview later this week, so we won't touch on it too much here. But am I wrong? And I think maybe you feel the same way based on what you just said. It's going to be hard for me, based, like, no bias, no fan pick here. It's going to be hard to pick anything more than Knights in 5. Like, I think right now, based on the current form of this team, 6 games would be, like, that's a win for them. Like, going out in 6 would be, hey, you tried your hardest. That was a really good effort. I didn't expect that out of you. But I feel inclined to maybe push it either a sweep or Vegas in 5.
I got to think about it. I got to sleep on this.
Okay.
I'm not going to give away my prediction. I'm not going to give away my prediction because I'm not quite sure what it's going to be, because I'm trying to get my head around this team, which is a very, very weird team. All right. I think we're done here. I think our work is done. What was that last comment about John Hines? It says, and Hines. And does Hines come back next year if we get so? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's back. He's safe. He's totally safe.
If Guerin is safe for this 5-year plan they have, Hines absolutely is.
Yeah.
You make the coaching change to him in 30 minutes and then fire him after a season like this.
I actually don't have a huge problem with John Hines. I disagree with some strategies sometimes and some personnel deployment, but that's true with every single coach. But I actually think that if you look at the totality of Hines' work, especially this season in his first full year here, I think he's done some really good things. But they need to get this thing right in more ways. Again, culturally, that's how, to his credit, Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings. Great job with the culture. And you can laugh at that and say, culture, who cares? That's a stupid word. But the reality is, it's a real thing. And if you're around teams, you can tell that. We are in, boys. Enjoy it. Clearly, you don't know this team. It's possible to enjoy anything with this. And by the way, too, if you want to go, I mean, there's other places to go in the Twin Cities media landscape where you will be told that these are that this is a juggernaut, that this is incredible, that this was the greatest tie of all time. So there's plenty of that. We prefer to bring you the reality, which is this is a very up and down team that can drive you bleeping crazy, a lot like the 2024-25 Timberwolves. All right, we're done. Judd's Hockey Show. AJ, Judd, we'll talk to you later.